And with us right now, we've got Hernan Vazquez. Hernan, you're the founder and CEO of Hernan Vazquez Media, LLC. You're the author of Perpetual Profits and the winner of the 2022 Comma Club Award. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Josh. It's really good to be here. Really
now,
excited.
how did you get into paid ads and why? Why go there?
So this was like, I've been doing digital marketing for 10 years now, 10, 11 years.
You've seen some stuff.
yeah, for sure. And with my first company that we launched, it was Semantic Mastery, which is the company that we got the 2 Comma Club Award with today, this year. We launched our first digital product 6-7 years ago. And you know, we needed traffic. We needed like leads and sales and all of that to our own funnels.
Yeah.
So I kind of decided to go the paid ads route. And I've been doing that, you know, for the past six years now. So, you know, it's been quite a ride. It's been quite a ride.
Yeah. And so eventually, just, you know, again, just so people know, you've actually been, you've had the opportunity to work with Frank Kern now for 2.5 years. How did that connection happen?
So
well, actually, yeah. And then Grant Cardone as well. Can you kind of explain that relationship?
For sure. Yeah, for sure. So I've been a big fan of Frank Kern since I started pretty much, you know, 10 years ago. And I've been following him, you know, around for a while. And basically all of the connections that I did with people that I wanted to work with, or that, you know, people that are in the position that I want to be in a couple of years from now, it has always been from the perspective of, hey, I'll add as much value as possible to whatever it is that you're doing for completely free, right? Mm-hmm. That was the whole deal. And that how the connection happened. So more specifically on his end, he had launched his Frank Kern Inner Circle, and I became a part of that, of his monthly membership, and I became really, really helpful on his Facebook group. And I was helping people left and right, and I was doing a lot of helping them. And then one of his team members reached out and say, "Hey, dude, do you want to become a moderator of the Facebook group since you're so active? We'll comp your Inner Circle fee, whatever."
Wow.
And I said, "Yeah, sure. That's cool. Why not?" And then because I was already doing that, and then at some point they decided to launch a marketing agency, and Frank and his team knew, because of how much I was helping people on the Facebook group, that I was running ads for my own things, for my own companies, but also for some clients, and they invited me to jump on board. At that point, this was like, yeah, almost 3.5 years ago. Frank had another person managing his ads, and that other person, like after 6 months that I was there, left. So there was a void, right, to be filled. And I kind of jump in to manage the ads and manage the ads of Frank Kern, the company itself.
Yeah.
All the while running ads for Frank's clients, and then helping building the agency last year. So, but it was like, everything was based on giving insane amounts of value, you know, just for free, because, you know, I just wanted to be in the sphere and in the, you know, the ecosystem.
Here we go. Man, this is a very popular, if anyone who's been listening to this show for any length of time, you'll know, Hernan, what you just said right there. You know, again, success leaves clues. And, you know, when you hear something over and over and over again, you might want to take note. And what you just said there is, you lead by giving tons of value, and you just give. And lo and behold, something magical happens.
Yes, sir. That is correct. That is 100% correct. Yeah.
So, and again, so if there's somebody, and just to make sure I drive home this point, you got the attention of Frank and Grant. And was it just based on your results as a meritocracy, or what else did you do to stand out?
That's actually a good point. I think that it was a lot about giving a lot of value, like, you know, work ethic as well, because you can give a lot of value, then you need to come through, right? Then you need to kind of jump in and swim with the sharks pretty much, which is how most of the high level people that I know operate, is that, hey, that's awesome. Hey, here's a bunch of stuff for you to do. Go ahead and do it and bring back a good result. So it was a lot of that. And I also think that it was a little bit of also, you know, personal branding as well. Like, I was listening to the videos that you sent before the calls, which are awesome, by the way. You know, they're super, super helpful. And one of the things that stand out was the fact that, you know, you need to build your authority, because, you know, if somebody is going to check you out, they want to see, hey, what you do, where you're at, what type of results you're getting, but also, you know, like basically they're going to check you out. So I think that was also a big player, I would say, in terms of getting to work with them, like, you know, understanding that I had value to give, but I was also paying attention to those details, right? So paying attention to you as a personal brand as a whole, I think it's a big thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. So what is, like, you know, again, and a lot has changed in 2020, but what do you think works today? And what do you think is going to work in the future when it comes to paying for visibility?
Right. That's actually a great question. I love that. And I'm a paid guy, right? I'm a paid media. I'm an advertising guy. And again, like last year, we helped 250 plus clients. Most of them were small business owners. And we applied this approach to advertising over and over and over again, which is build an audience through goodwill, through content, right? You can accelerate that rate of consumption when you have video content out there that is helpful to the people that you want to reach out to through something like video views campaign. Video views campaign on Facebook ads specifically, on Instagram, they're super cheap right now. They're really, really inexpensive. They allow you to build a big audience with the content that you're already putting out. And they're inexpensive because people are not leaving Facebook, right? And Facebook rewards you for for you to advertise people not leaving Facebook. That increases the engagement of your ads. There's a lot of, mechanical reasons why you should be doing that. And that allows you to build an audience. Basically on Facebook, you can create custom audiences, right? And you can put people in different buckets. So if they consume, let's say that you have a podcast episode of 30 minutes. If somebody consumes 30 seconds of that podcast episode on Facebook, and if somebody consumes 95% of that episode on Facebook as well, there's like a light year of distance in terms of engagement, right? Like how engaged they are with your brand. So what we do is we develop this strategy for, again, a lot of small business owners that they didn't have huge budgets to go after. And what we noticed is that once we started like developing the conversion campaigns, the retargeting campaigns, we would put people into these buckets, and then we will show them additional content, A, but B, we will show them conversion ads, right? Ads that will drive them to take action, whatever that is, like become a lead online, or book a call, or download a free ebook, or buy a product from an e-commerce store, whatever that is. We noticed that the amount, like the amount of closing that people will have on the phone will increase. The average order value of any funnel will go up. The lifetime value of customers will go up. The lifetime value and the average order value on e-commerce stores will go up. So that's basically this two-step approach where you're really trying to stand out. Like a lot of small businesses and even like entrepreneurs are pivoting to this online world, right? After this thing happened. I think that's one of the fastest, easiest, and most like budget-wise, approaches or strategies that you can apply to actually build your brand, build your business, and get, a lot of goodwill in the marketplace, but also convert and increase your bottom line, if that makes sense.
Right. So again, if I understand correctly, then I think a lot of marketers historically, like if we look at a very traditional ClickFunnels kind of approach, is like, okay, so I'm going to throw these ads in front of people. Then I'm going to get them to opt in on a lead magnet. Then I'm going to throw them in front of a tripwire. Then I'm going to try and sell my thing. And it's just kind of sell.
Right.
And so are you suggesting maybe a little bit longer relationship building approach in many cases then?
Yes, 100%. So basically you can still do that. That's still effective to a degree. Like, most people, it also depends on how sophisticated your market is, but most people, they already know, oh, well, this is a lead magnet. Now I'm going to give you my email. You're going to give me this free PDF, and you're going to bombard my, inbox with stuff. And then on the next page, I'm going to see a sales letter and all of that. So people already know that. So What we do on this case is we build a relationship before they even hit our ClickFunnels page or sales page, or even whatever that is. So we build a relationship. Like most advertisers, as you're correctly saying, they go for the kill right away, right? The usual direct response approach in advertising, which is I'm going to put this ad in front of people that based on their behaviors, they're shown that they're interested in, I don't know, Tony Robbins, right? And that works, that still works to a degree. But if we're building the relationship before they even hit your website,
right,
that allows you to think long-term. That allows you to get people that are potentially ready to buy over the next 90, 120, 180 days, even next year, right? And you're nurturing those people. If you're seeing like, and that's something that I saw at the highest level, like for instance, with Grant Cardone, he will be super, super.
He just promotes a lot of content.
Yes.
Yeah.
He will be super bullish on content, super bullish, like really, really bullish on content and awareness. Like on some cases, it was funny because we're hardcore direct response advertisers, right?
Yeah, right.
They're all about exposure,
yeah.
right? And initially, I think that we launched an ad on I think it was CNBC or something like that. And we spent $150,000 for the agency, and and we didn't see, I mean, it's not that we didn't see any return, we couldn't track, right? We couldn't track the return on that. So it was like that school of thought, which is, hey, let's just get exposure, massive awareness. And our school of thought, which is every dollar needs to be accountable, right?
Yeah.
To track an ROI. So it was funny to see the different like approaches to advertising, which are both valid, but we're kind of in between, in the middle. Hey, create awareness, like go ahead, build that relationship before people hit your first page, so that by the time they hit your first page, then your lead magnet conversions will go up, your tripwire conversions will go up, people will spend more company and all of that. So
Hernan, would you recommend that people just put longer form video on Facebook, or what content seems to work best?
Yeah, great question.
Like, so what I'm thinking is like, you don't need to click on anything, just hang out here for a second. Let me give you something. Remember my name. It seems to be the approach, right?
Yeah, for sure, 100%. So there are basically two stages of this content, right, that we're putting out. We're putting out punchier, shorter content that most of the time it doesn't have any other call to action that, hey, if you find this helpful, just share it with people, right? And that first level, top of funnel type of content that we have, it's usually what we're seeing that it works the best are vertical videos, like recorded selfie style, like this with your phone, right? Vertically. So vertically like this, selfie style with your phone, and that they're up to 2 minutes long. So it's a quick tip, a quick, insight, something that is pretty easily consumed. And then once people consume that piece of content, then again, we put them in a bucket. And we show them longer form content, like for instance, podcast interviews, if you do a webinar from time to time, if you're doing a live stream on your Facebook page that are usually like 30, 45 minutes long and whatnot, those are like second stage type of content. And again, that's what we're seeing after testing, with a decent amount of money on budget and advertising. So if you can like literally sit down, put out vertical videos with your phone. Facebook and Instagram are also social networks. That means that the production quality doesn't need to be like huge, like for instance on YouTube or LinkedIn.
Right.
That the production quality needs to be there. But on Facebook, you can like get away with cheaper production quality, if you would, because people are on social media, right? They're just hanging out. They're seeing, they're seeing pictures and whatnot. So that's what we're seeing, if that makes sense, in terms of content.
Yeah, I mean, I think, in terms of style, you want to mimic the style of video that people watch. And it's usually, if it's their friend posting something, it's going to be vertical. It's going to be, hey, and it's just, more, what appears more kind of on the fly, not heavily produced. Do you, I guess when I look at how I consume content on Facebook, when I see that it's sponsored or it's an ad, I naturally just kind of put my guard up a little bit, like, okay, what are you going to sell me?
Right. Yeah, for sure. And that happens a lot. And that happens like due to the fact that usually the ad that you're seeing that's a sponsor is trying to sell you something, right?
Right.
But if you are really have nothing to sell, like other than, hey, I'm going to provide you as much value as possible, and then you might decide to buy my stuff like 3 months from now or 30 days from now. I think that kind of breaks the pattern, if you would. Like in and of itself, the content format is a pattern interrupt, which, it helps a lot when it comes to, oh, well, this guy like actually helped me in 2, 3, 5 minutes, and he didn't ask anything in return other than, hey, like, if you feel this is helpful, just go ahead and share it. That's kind of weird. That's not how many people do Facebook ads.
Yeah. So what about, I'd say, the level business wise of, if you're selling B2B and you're selling a $25,000 product, my experience is it's pretty tough to sell to a really successful type A, high achieving, business owner on social media. I mean, I guess the best you can do is just brand awareness, right?
Right.
It's not like they're going to, I personally, like, I'm not going to spend any time watching somebody's webinar or read their drip campaign or any of that stuff. I'm just too busy. I've been around marketing too long. Like I'm too jaded.
yeah, for sure. And it also depends on how sophisticated your demographic is, right? If you're selling marketers to marketer, then they're going to be judging you not only because of the content, but also because of your delivery and all of that. So it's the toughest possible thing to do. But here's the thing. So last year I was helping it was last year and this year as well. So we were helping a high-end luxury, a luxury store. They were doing like handmade luxury rings that they were like, anywhere up to $150,000 for a ring.
Yeah.
And people will need to come in and people will need to, make an appointment because everything was handmade and whatnot. And the person running the store, the jewelry store, they knew that it was a long sales cycle, right? But there were a couple of things that we were able to do on Facebook, right? When it comes to B2B and when it comes to high ticket type of, deals, is that the content pieces, what you're saying in the content is really important. Like Frank Kern would always say, you cannot hunt whales with minnow bait, So
you can wait, say that again. You cannot hunt whales with minnow bait.
Yeah. So the type of content that you're putting out, right? What you're saying in the ads, it's really, really important. So when you're basing everything based on a content strategy, the way we call it the dog whistle or the call out, right? If you're calling out the marketplace in the right way, there's a high chance that they will respond from a content perspective, So what we did on that case was, of course, we were targeting like high-end luxury boutique brands on the Facebook ads, but also we were showcasing the jewelry. And what was interesting about that is that, hey, like he wasn't even trying to sell you anything, right? He was like, this is the jewelry, this is how we do it, this is our process, et cetera, et cetera. If you want to have a conversation, just click the link below. If you want to have a conversation, here's our number, call us. And that was the entire lead generation campaign for him, and it worked really well, just because he wasn't even trying, On some cases, like also I helped an investment fund find really high level institutional investment through Facebook ads. And he had a lead magnet and he had an Amazon book as well. And all around the advertising was about, hey, by the way, if you're interested in this, go get my Amazon book. He wasn't even trying to sell you anything like go schedule on my calendar. He wasn't even trying, right? But the content was set up in a way that he was talking straight and directly to whales, right? So that's basically what we're trying to do. So if I talk to you about saving time, if I talk to you about, hey, you can be more productive, you can hire that team that team member that you really always needed. If we're talking about freeing up your time, if we're talking about that, then some content will resonate better than other type of content. So you need to be really adamant about who you're talking to and what are you saying in the content, so that at the end of the funnel, you will have people that are qualified to buy from you. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So Hernan, I think Frank Kern kind of famously hit pause on Facebook advertising during COVID-19, kind of well known. What's your opinion on that, and where do you see like what do you see happening when it comes to Facebook ad agencies as an industry over the next year or so?
Yeah, great question. So basically, like during COVID-19, when it comes to what we were doing with Frank, we were like, advertising heavily on our end, mostly because what we saw is that the CPMs, the cost to advertise on Facebook, went down dramatically. So during that time, we were like, hey guys, go ahead and advertise. If you're building audiences, this is the time. If you're, trying to be helpful, this is the time, because people are in their houses. It's cheaper to advertise on Facebook since forever, because always, it has been going up. The cost to advertise on Facebook has been going up historically. But during those 2 to 3 months, now CPMs are going kind of back to normal. And during November, I think that it's going to be like hard to advertise, because it's like people are trying to, and entrepreneurs are trying to make up for that lost time,
Yeah.
So on that case, like we were advertising heavily. Now, I do think that agencies, like anyone else, like agencies that were depending on a vertical, let's say that you were only servicing chiropractors, they took a hit. Some other agencies, that they were servicing like e-commerce stores, they saw a huge bump in sales and ad spend and all of that. So I think it's a matter of maybe diversifying a little bit, because, if something comes out that will hit drop shippers or, people having e-commerce stores and all of that, then your agency might be affected as well. So maybe having a diversity of clients, I'm a big fan of going into a vertical, but we've seen that when you're going into a vertical, you're really exposed to the risks of that vertical.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, for sure.
Though, that there's a lot of opportunity. Again, a lot of entrepreneurs are pivoting to the online world. They are, they're investing more into advertising, or at least they're starting to think, right? Hey, how do I pivot? How do I go from this mom and pop location into the online world after what happened, So I think that there's a lot of opportunity there.
So Hernan, for someone who's like, man, I like this guy, I like the way he thinks, where would be a great place for them to continue the relationship with you? Or is there a epic piece of content that you give away that you'd recommend that people take a look at?
Yeah, for sure. So funny enough, I have 4+ years worth of content on my YouTube channel. So if you go to YouTube and search for my name, you can go there. But also, I just put together a video on YouTube, which I'm happy to share the link with you, that explains the top 5 or 6 reasons why Facebook ads might not be working, specifically why Facebook ads are not being approved, why they're not getting delivery, why your Facebook page is not allowed to run ads, and all of that, things that are pretty confusing and frustrating. So that is one piece of content that I would recommend there. But again, on that YouTube channel, there's 4+ years worth of content. So there's a lot of good stuff in there.
Yeah. So your website is Hernan Vazquez, HernanVazquez.com. It should be, if you click on whatever podcast app that you're listening to, kind of click and look for our notes for this episode. Just maybe click on the title or whatever. You'll see come up. There should be a hyperlink there that you can click on, so you can pull up Hernan's website. And then I see your YouTube link down in the lower left-hand corner here, so you can access all of Hernan's great content. Hernan, thank you so much. I really appreciate this.
Thank you. It's been awesome. Thank you so much.